Hello and welcome. Good evening. My name is Inbaal and I'm broadcasting at you live from right here in the UK. I'm part of the Bigfoot Outlaw family. It's the Bigfoot Outlaw channel, which is an entire network of paranormal and esoteric broadcasting from coast to coast and around the world. I'm running a psychic development show where everybody's welcome. Everybody can learn with me how to do the different things that I do. If you'd like a reading, a little reading for yourself, a little message, go ahead and send me a message. I'm going to flash it up on the screen just like Michelle's message, who says awesome and sent some emojis, and we could chat. We could do some readings. I've got tarot cards with me and I'll be using the tarot mostly for your messages unless you specifically ask for the crystal ball. And the crystal ball is my topic for today. I was inspired by our lovely viewer, Isa, who asked, I think it was you, Isa, who asked, how come I can read a clear crystal ball without blemishes? So I'm going to explain about how I read crystal ball, about how you can read the crystal ball, and whoever wants messages from the crystal ball, especially for you, then don't hesitate, come and ask. Michelle is leading the way, saying good day. I would love a reading from the crystal ball. Tor says Isa is awesome. Isa is so awesome. I hope you're watching, Isa, because I know that you're flying away for the Christmas period and we're getting very, very close. Lorna Nicole is saying hi, Inbaal. Hi. And Lorna is greeting everybody. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Tor. Hi, Lorna. Thank you so much for the messages. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. You know how it goes. If you're watching us on any network that is not our YouTube channel, pop on and make sure you follow us on the YouTubes so that you can send us messages as well. Wow, okay, quite a few requests for the crystal ball have already sort of come in. I don't want to make a joke about how I didn't anticipate that. I did not see that in the crystal ball. So I am saving all those messages to the side, and I'm just going to start very, very small, very, 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 very brief. We're going to get to the clear crystal ball a little bit later on. We're going to start with my first crystal ball. That's kind of my special guest tonight. I don't have a special live guest. I have a special round bally guest. This is my first crystal ball. And I bought it at a really regular esoteric wholesaler in North London. If you're in North London, you probably know which wholesaler it is. It's huge. Everybody goes there. And I was going around with a friend. And this is 20, I don't know, like 22, 23 years ago. She has since then become quite a large esoteric publisher. She's not large. The publishing house is large. She herself is, you know, a perfectly regular size. And we just walked around. We bought some things. It's kind of wholesaler that you can sort of pick up some things for yourself. Some stuff to wear, some stuff to enjoy. Both of us got one each of my trusty censer, my censer of incense, and I just loved the look of this. It said something on it that it was some kind of something crystal. I don't even remember, but we asked her partner, who was a crystals expert at the time, it's a long time ago, and he said it's basically fortified glass. But that's still cool because some of us watching right now, like Dor here, can read all sorts of round bally objects, even ones that are not specifically intended for divination. So I bought this and thought, well, might as well read it. Now, I've been very self-taught pretty much with everything. I've been very self-taught with the tarot and all the other different ways that that I read. I kind of sit down and figure something out. I was going to make a joke about that's how I learned to drive, but that wouldn't sound very, very safe. But that's how I learned all the stuff that you don't need a license for. And I figured that because this had all the blemishes in it, I could just read what the blemishes said, and they came through. So I like to move the crystal ball because that gives all sorts of different combinations. It gives all sorts of messages, and they can be really, really different. But that was my first crystal ball. So I'm going to do the few reading requests that have come so far, and we'll see what kind of messages come through for you. Now, I'm going to put this aside for a second because, there we go. My husband made me a coffee and a water and then hid it behind the broadcasting unit. So I'm very sorry for this unflattering angle, but it's thirsty work. We've got a few requests already, so we're going to start with that. I think the best way to demonstrate how something works is to just do it, just demonstrate it. So we're going to go with that, and we're going to start with Michael John, who's joining us from the Facebook. And he says, I would love a message from the crystal ball if possible. Thank you. Absolutely. And thank you for your lovely manners. That's really, really nice. So what I've got for you, what I've got for you from the crystal ball, I'm seeing a fish hook. I'm seeing a fish hook, and this tells me that there's something you would like to achieve, and you feel like if you just went for it, it would be too aggressive. And I want to say to you, aggressive schmaggressive, you've got what it takes to get exactly what you want. It takes skill anyway. It takes skill. It wouldn't happen to you. It wouldn't come to you if it wasn't right for you. So jump right in, grab that thing that you want. And if it's meant for you, like with a fish hook, not every time you throw the fish hook in, you'd come up with a fish. Just like with a fish hook, if it's meant for you, you'll get it. Let me know if that makes sense to you, Michael John. I've got a message here from Michelle, who says, good day. I would love a reading from the crystal ball with the crystal ball emoji, which is one of my favorite emojis on the Twitter. The crystal ball emoji is also like very, very purple, which is one of my favorite colors. So a little reading from Michelle from the crystal ball, and it shows you with a crown, Michelle, and it says that you're really trying to step into that queen energy. You're really trying to view yourself in a really, really positive light, and I'm so here for it. But what it shows me is that your positive view of yourself, it appears and you can hold on to it, and then it suddenly vanishes. And you work really hard and it appears again, and then it vanishes again. So what this says to you is keep the focus until it becomes second nature for you to view yourself with that crown on. Let me know if that makes sense. Let me know if your name in lights relates to how you're feeling. I've got two messages here from Laura Nicole saying, I would like to hear more about what you see in the crystal ball, and then clarifies, I would like a crystal ball reading too, but mainly want to learn about it. So just to explain, first of all, the blemishes within the crystal ball, you would read them, when you're a child and you're kind of laying on the grass and you're looking at the clouds, and the clouds can seem like all sorts of shapes. That's exactly how you read a blemished crystal ball. That's how you'd read any object that has either moving parts or anything that you can sort of, I suppose, even move your eyes to make it dance a little bit. So, for example, if you just sort of focus on a certain blemish here, doesn't matter which, and then I'm going to move it a little bit so that you see it change or you see it join with another blemish. That could give you clues. That is a little bit like reading coffee grounds or tea leaves or the steam coming off a pot or reading the water. All very, very similar forms of scrying where you're scrying in an uneven surface. We're going to progress to an even surface soon. So your message for you, and you can ask for multiples because we're going to try different things. We're going to try different methods, different techniques. I've got the different techniques waiting here. So the message that I've got for you, it's showing me like a lighthouse. So it was changing a little bit. At first it was saying exclamation mark. And then it showed me a fish, but my brain was going, oh, we just spoke about the fish hook. So how can it be a fish again? So I sort of cleared that, and then it showed like a lighthouse. And when I see all of those things, then they appear quite resolute that you are going in the right direction. You're going towards the right thing. Were you thinking of moving nearer the coast as well? And it says that a change will come during Cancer season. So that's in 6 months' time. Big change is coming during Cancer season. It's showing me the crab. But the fact that I had the fish, crab, lighthouse, I'm thinking by the seaside is where your search needs to be taking you. So let me know if that makes sense. I can see that a few more messages have come in, but at the moment my eyes are still on the questions that came in. And finally for this segment, I've got a question from Tor, who is amazing. Me and Tor had the bestest show yesterday. Tor, to those who don't know, is the presenter of Predict the Week, the Monday show. So if you haven't caught us live, because it is on the morning time here in the UK. So while Predict the Week is on, it's like 1 a.m. in California, must be 5 a.m., 4 a.m. in New York. So you might not have caught it, but make sure you flip through the channel until you find the reruns of Predict the Week. So Taurus says, I would like to know what the ball says about what miracle to expect. And we've got some disco ball emojis. Great. Let's see how many types of balls we can have in the emojis. So you're asking for which miracle to expect, and it says that the mirror is showing a rocket here. It's showing a rocket. It's showing a rocket aiming almost squarely to the sky, and it's going that away. And I'm thinking that away is a different country, and that away is either the east coast or the US or the east coast of Canada. There is a connection there. The fact that it's showing a rocket makes me think maybe it's connected to some of your old hits where we had like the video footage of something that happens in space. So the miracle to expect is musical, it is abroad, and it is connected to an old creation. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me know. Now I'm going to jump up and see what messages I missed. So Lorna says, Tor, here we go. We found the level for tonight. We have indeed. The word ball gets the worst out of all of us, out of me for sure. Lorna says, hi to Michael. Laurie Sue says, about 6 weeks ago, you and Tor read to me on this very channel. You could not have been more wrong if you had tried. I read tarot and I'm considered psychic. curious as to how you qualify this. That's a fabulous question. That it's really sort of a topic, not just for a whole show. It's a topic for like a whole series about the nature of accuracy and the message that you need to receive versus the message that you receive. So, in a nutshell, in a teeny tiny nutshell, because I love this question and I think more people should be asking it. In a teeny tiny nutshell, this is because the message that you are needing at the time is not necessarily the message that you're needing right now. I'll give you an example. I have a friend who is also my client. At this stage of my life, at this stage of my career, the vast majority of my clients are my friends, and the vast majority of my friends are also clients. And she was going through the worst time. Her partner, completely separate to the worst, that was the worst time with the ex and the children and moving in between countries and trying to establish a business. It was hard. It was hard. It was hard. She's great now, by the way. But her partner then, while she was having the readings, was quite unfaithful. And the readings kept confirming for her, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Don't leave. It's not cheating. It's just a thing. Because in retrospect, if on top of everything, the little bit of joy that she had in having that relationship that cheered her up and sort of made her feel positive, if she knew that that relationship was also very, very false and that the man was, you know, such a liar, that would have absolutely collapsed her, you know, her entire being. And so the reading that she received, the reading that she needed, and the reading that turned out to be, you know, the facts were not necessarily exactly the same, and is something that I see happen usually in times of crisis. But I think quite a few of the people watching the show who have got some comments to make are very, very welcome to participate. It's not what the topic is, but I think it makes for a really interesting topic in the context of any psychic show. Laurie says, by the way, is this a true crystal ball? They cost thousands. No, I said right in the beginning, this is fortified glass. Like I said, when I saw it in the shop, it said something crystal. And I got it. It was at the time £30, which is like $50. That's a little over 20 years ago. So even then, it was sort of quite a bargain. But I took it to my friend's partner at the time, and he was like a crystals expert, and he said, oh no, those words mean fortified glass is what it means. Lorna says, hi Laurie. Michelle says, yes, I understand the crown disappearing. That is interesting. Lorna says, Laurie, you in a grump tonight? Let's see whether that's what it is. Ella is saying, hey, who are you? I am Inbaal. I've got the ticker at the bottom. That will help you find out more about me. Laurie says, not at all, Lorna. I value the truth. I would. You do as well. Great. Michelle says, hi, Laurie. Let's see what else we've got here. And Michelle says, sometimes messages don't make sense at the time. They come to you at a later time. Michelle says, there's no perfect science to reading and no one is 100% accurate all of the time. I've always seen her do her best and have no reason to think otherwise. Thank you, Michelle. It's really sweet of you to say. Tora says, oh, well, thank you. Does make more sense than you know, boo. We'll chat later. What is the news? I'm excited. Jim Smith says, I'm here from Manchester, England, hot lips. Hi, Jim. Thank you very much. I am, by the way, happily married and not taking applicants at this particular moment, but I am just across the mountains from you. I'm in the Home Firth area. So Manchester is over there. I'm waving at you. Lorna says, Laura, did you get settled in a new place yet? And Michelle says, sorry if you had a bad experience, Laurie. Love, light, peace, and Harmony, lovely. Bay saying hello to you. And have I caught up with all the messages? Aha! Bay says, B, right? B. Are we doing readings today? We are. Or is this a conversation, discussion? And we've got a heart there. So what we're doing today, we are learning a little bit more about how to read different types of crystal balls. But also, so if you want a crystal ball message, more of a general message, I suppose, I'm here for it. But if you happen to need any specific information, I've got 2 decks of tarot. Normally I travel with one, but I saw this one on my way to this corner of the house and thought I would take it with me. So if you have a question, absolutely send it in. Thank you for asking, B. Lorna is greeting Jim and saying hi. Tor is helpfully saying to Jim, I am not happily married. Merseyside, I also have hot lips. That is very accurate. And Jim, if you don't know Tor yet, then scroll a little bit up in the programs. Tor was broadcasting side by side with me just yesterday at 9 a.m. Lorna loved the not taking applicants at the moment. B says, I'm exciting. Lorna says, Tor is advertising. Babe, Tor is always advertising. I've not met any situation where Tor wasn't just trying his luck, because you never know. And believe you me, when I was a single lady, I was the same, because you just never know. You never know. When I turned 30, quite embarrassingly, I suppose, a lot of my 30th birthday presents were had to do with how single I was at the time. I was like really, really drastically single. So I got like books on how to meet a man over 30. I got books for how to conceive over 30 and so on. And actually, they were very, very helpful, very, very useful. And one of those books said, you never know. You never know. Maybe the person in front of you is not right for you. Maybe the person who's sitting on that date with you is not right for you at all. Still, keep in touch, because that person might have a cousin. That person might have an old roommate. That person might have a best friend who is just right for you. So this is... And this, boys and girls, is my husband joining us from the room over there, saying, I did not realize this was psychic date night. For Tor, every night is psychic date night. So B says, I just wanted to ask general advice. And yes, it's pronounced B. Awesome. B says, I've always wanted to read with crystal balls, not sure which one is the best for me. So now that we dealt with this very handy size with the blemishes, also pro tip, if you like a psychic selfie, and I absolutely love a psychic selfie, if you have your picture taken, if you take a selfie next to a crystal ball, it'll make your face look less round in comparison. That is one of my handiest tips on how to look attractive in a psychic selfie, because next to a rectangle, the face always looks extra rounded. Next to a ball, on the other hand, not so much. So we looked at this size with blemishes. Now we're going to see, we're not going to get to my second crystal ball. So this was my second ever crystal ball. Again, I think glass. It's the very, very typical ones that come in this box from all markets and charity shops. They always look the same. But this is actually one that I got from my father-in-law, so from Shawnee's husband. And this is actual crystal. So my father-in-law is actually a geologist and loves rocks and stones. And this is, I think, rutilated quartz. I know a little bit about crystals, but not as much as everybody. So if anybody out there, is it rutilated quartz? Is it smoky quartz? If you guys are better at, so I just want to put something white on the background of it so that you can see what it looks like. There it is. And this is a handy one to have like at parties, or sometimes I'll sort of do a party where I've got to mix and mingle. I've got to stand up the whole time. And I just sort of carry my baggie with the tarot cards, and I'll put the crystal ball in there. So this one has actually got a lot more going on than even the one with the blemishes. And so I'll read this one the same kind of way. Now, I don't think the blemishes show as well on the screen, but this kind of brings us to the second technique, which is reading whatever is reflected on the crystal ball and or other ball from anywhere else. So you might be able to see the outline of the light I've got on the ceiling. You might be able to see the outline of my vanity ring light. You might be able to see the actual studio light reflecting back, and you've got the blemishes on the ball itself, but you can twirl around everything that we can see on the crystal ball, and you can find messages there as well, either what reflects on it or what you can see through it. And that's just for things, this technique is just sort of things that are there in the room. So for example, for me, I would use it just to see the back of my hand, like the lines through the back of my hand. I think it's always there. It's really handy. I would sometimes sort of just see the client through the crystal ball, and the way that the lines and images kind of blend and mesh and so on, they help me come up with messages. So it's a different crystal ball, slightly different technique. Let me catch up with some more messages there. Thank you so much for being super communicative. So B, I'm going to do a message for you in just a second. Let me just sort of catch up with those. Lorna says, oh yes, all the old self-help books. Yeah, that's how you become self-taught. Anita is also asking for a reading. Fabulous. I'm going to put your message on the side for me, and I'm going to get to your reading in the next 5 minutes, Anita. If you want to indicate whether you want a crystal ball message, which is more of a general message, or whether you want a tarot reading, if you've got like a specific question or anything. And Lorna is welcoming Anita. Shade Viking is sending me lightning and snow. Shade Viking, are you Thor? Are you Thor the Viking? My husband says Inbaal's father-in-law has entered the chat. Hopefully not in real life. Shade Viking said, good seasons. Oh, welcome. Brian Barber is saying hello, Inbaal. Hi, Brian. B says, thank you. And also says, I appreciate the advice about crystal balls. Fabulous. Brian Barber is welcoming everybody. And Shade Viking says, that's my trademark. Right. You always sign messages like that, because I sign messages with like the evil eye thing and with a crystal ball next to it, but both of them are kind of very circular. So sometimes I like to kind of break it up with the star that's not a star, like the 4-pointed star with the 2 little twirls with the like sparkle. Lorna says, that was one of my questions that you've already answered. Does it matter if the crystal ball isn't actually crystal, i.e. could it be glass, etc.? Let me do the 2 questions, And I'm going to get back to your super, super important question, because that I think will be useful for everybody. So let me see if I can put that to one side. It was one of my questions. And Brian, yeah, we're putting all the questions on the side, and let me go to them. So I'm not going to see your new messages coming in for a little bit because I am going through the folder of questions. So first of all, oh wait, did I miss B? B, you're not even in my folder, but let's do a message for you. So I'm back to my favorite first crystal ball, and B's message. Oh, do you know, it's showing me an angel, and that's really funny because so many of my friends are like gifted angel readers, and it's just not my direction. But for you, the angelic connection is so strong that it's even cutting through my, uh, dedication to doing things only my own way. No, we're doing this one your way. And this angel shows a lot of protection. Now, don't think I'm a negative person for getting suspicious when protection shows up, because it makes me think, wait, B, what's going on around you? That spirit think you need protection. And if spirit think you need protection, then you want to ramp it up. So B, get yourself some sage, some crystals, maybe a little bit of lavender oil or sandalwood oil, frankincense. Sandalwood also good, but frankincense really first grade. And make sure that you are protected at all times. Do a little meditation that makes you feel safe, because the angels are there to support you, to guide you, but they're also doing their best to make sure you're safe. So let's go with Anita, who says, just a general reading, please, any method. Do you know, I'm feeling the clear crystal ball for you. So let's go with that, Anita. And it shows me that you're an incredibly accepting and inclusive person. And it's really a big part of your personality. And I feel like where you are right now in life, so I don't know if it's like the job or if it's like people around you, like your community, are much, much, much less inclusive and accepting. And you don't know how to introduce to them the idea that people are people and everybody's valid. And so, what the crystal ball message says to you is that as long as you're doing things in your own truth, in your own light, in a way that you feel is aligned with who you are, then you're not getting it wrong. Other people can worry about their own karma, but you're doing good with yours. Focus on yours, focus on your own. So I've got that for Anita, and I've got one for Brian, and then we're going to get to your very, very interesting and educational question, Lorna. Just checking that I'm not missing anything important. Brilliant. So, Brian, if you have time and bar, you're willing to do a general reading for me, absolutely with pleasure. I'm so pleased you asked. So, it's showing you holding a shield. It's a shield with a swan on it. It's you protecting somebody else. It's you protecting a feminine figure. And you are not going to let anything negative happen to them. It also shows me, I don't know what this face is. It's a little like a fox, but I'm no zoologist. Could it be like a badger or something? Have you got like a spirit animal that is sort of quite, you know what I mean? It's showing like a pinched face, takes no nonsense, pointy ears. So there's a spirit animal there that is keeping you safe. And it says that you prioritize the needs of others ahead of your own needs. And normally I would say, you've got to remember yourself. When you're safe, you can keep everybody else safe. But actually, in this situation, do you know what it shows? That when you're taking care of others, then your own needs are met via that. So you've cracked that code, you've cracked that system. Thank you, Brian, for asking. So Lorna asked a question that we're going to cover anyway, and to help cover it, I have a couple of friends here. So Lorna says, that was one of my questions that you've already answered. She says, well, yeah, I have a lot more to say about it. Does it matter if the crystal ball isn't actually crystal, i.e. could it be glass? So when you're working, playing with a crystal ball, it serves two purposes, at least. Serves two purposes. One of them is to read. So one of them is to view messages, interpret messages. It can be visual, and then it can be any kind of a crystal ball. We'll keep making jokes about Tor's balls, but the fact is that Tor reads what do you call it, like snow globes and decorative objects. I'll bet you, it's seasonal. You could read a bauble. So it not only doesn't have to be an actual crystal ball, but it doesn't have to be, even pretending to be a crystal ball. So just to read it, that's definitely a fine shape for anything. The other thing that a crystal ball does is act as kind of an antenna, as a conduit, something that helps you enhance and ground your psychic ability, if you believe in that. And for that purpose, you can use any crystal at all. So you'll sometimes see readers set up their table at a psychic fair and they put some crystals there. It's not just to be pretty. It helps channel their guidance. It helps channel their abilities. And so if you're reading a crystal ball, like this guy and this guy, small but perfectly formed, then they do both jobs. And you're reading the crystal ball, but you're also using the crystal vibe, the crystal energy to channel. If it's a glass crystal ball or a bauble or a tub of water, you can scry in water with ink in it. You can scry in water with no ink in it. A little bit more on that later. That will be the last thing that we look through. Then for that, it doesn't need to be a crystal at all. I really, really hope that resonated with people. Let's see some feedback for the readings. Taurus says, me, I'm the friend. Yeah, it's true. Lorna helpfully says, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Guys and gals, the more you show love to the channel, the more we can stay on air at absolutely no cost to yourself. B says, never goes away, but I love angels. Even if no one is attacking, B says, I think everyone deserves protection. Do you see a female or male energetic angel? So it was really kind of wasn't like a biblical angel, but it was more like the Bible concept of an angel, in the sense that it's genderless, it transcends gender. It had the appearance of a feminine figure to me, but it didn't have a gendered vibe, neither here nor there. B's message says, thank you so much. And then Tor helpfully says, both B, you have at least 4 right. So Tor is much more of a specialist on angels. So thank you so much for helping with that. He says not to butt in. And Lorna says, but we know you will, Tor. It's expected now. No, that's not. That's helping. We're all helping, just like you help, Lorna. B says, thank you, Tor. So many. Twisted is here. Hi, Lena. Saying hello. all. Hey, Inbal, saying in late. That's okay. We're on all the time. Although this is the final psychic development with Inbal until the new year. I've got to take a couple of weeks off to do, the whole family thing. Anita says, thanks, Inbal. I think I can understand that. I'll take it. Lorna says, here she is. I knew you wouldn't be long after BB arrived. Oh, Brian, lovely. Brian says, holy cow. I was Wolverine for Halloween and my girlfriend is quadriplegic. So you nailed it. So this is the defending her with the shields. That's incredible. Wow. But yeah, I wasn't sure what animal exactly I was looking at. And I suppose, Wolverine is not an animal. It's it's also a person. Lorna says, literally on his tail, saying, hey, little, hey, Twisted. Twisted says, see, Lorna, he's taken. Hey, Brian. Tor says, snow globes and glitter globes. Thank you. And Lorna enjoyed that a lot. She's saying, tee Tor's thingies. Tor says, the glitterier, the better. And Lorna says, you can still look though. Yeah, you can and you should look. B has a good question for everybody. So I'm going to answer this question and then we're going to deal with the final piece of the jigsaw and the question that sparked it all. How do you read the clear crystal ball? So, sorry, I just saw the question that came from my husband, completely lost focus. So the question that B asks, which is relevant not just for crystal ball, but for all readings, how to stay grounded while reading. So first of all, not always. I like to have good habits, but it's not easy. It's not easy to stay grounded while reading. And also when you do this kind of work, you're so addicted to the other side that, that it's fun to be ungrounded. I'm almost 100% sure that I have a YouTube video. I have a YouTube video called Chakras. And there I go over like exactly how I meditate to keep grounded. But to keep grounded, you got to eat, you got to drink, you've got to clap, you've got to have your feet on the floor, and also you've got to stay yourself. Getting caught up, getting sort of really lost in sort of speaking the language of the reading is so easy. It's so easy. And when me and Tor used to work on a psychic channel together years ago, and then you would do readings like one after the other. There was not really a lot of room for chit chat. And so I would find that I was kind of separated from my regular everyday thoughts. All I could think, like the way my brain worked, was just the kind of words that you use in a reading all the time. So that was like super ungrounded. But I try to sort of live life. I also thankfully have 4 beautiful children that keep me grounded, that keep my head screwed on. But everybody finds their way. I would say, if you struggle to ground, start from the basics. Start from eating hearty foods. Start from making sure you drink your water. Make sure you move your body as much as you can. Grounding is being more present in this world so that you don't sort of get lost to the other world so much. Brian is saying, you guys are making me blush. And this is my husband saying, plum readings. You should know that plums is what he calls the same thing that we were giggling about the whole time. Twisted saying, we love you, Brian. Lots of lovely messages of love and support. So I've caught up with all the messages. Some of them I just flashed on the screen. Not all of them I've read out, because we really sort of nearly got to the end of the show. So the final thing we're going to look at is how to read a clear crystal ball. So remember the steps that we had. We had reading the blemishes. We had reading the blemishes together with what is reflected on or through the crystal ball. And so naturally, to read a clear crystal ball, we only get to read what is reflected through or on the crystal ball. Is it a little harder? I suppose in a way, it's all a matter of habit and personal preference. So the first thing that you can do is, like we did with the little quartz ball, we can read things that go through the ball, or things that are reflected onto the surface of the ball. So light fittings. Just earlier with one of the messages, I could see some of the books that we have. It's like a whole room of books. Some of the books that we have there, and the spines, the colors on the spines created a pattern. So that gave me a message. So the one way is to look around for all the, I suppose, accidental reflections. But another way is to have some purposeful reflections. What I mean by that is that if you've got like a tarot sheet or a silk scarf with lots of colors, or a table of symbols, or a tablecloth that's all fluffy, and then you hold a crystal ball against that, then you've got a little bit more control over what you're seeing. And then the crystal ball could go over different symbols, and it could give you messages that way. The best advice is practice, practice, practice. Try it, be fearless, find some friends to practice on. It sounds like it's awkward, but quite honestly, it's so rare that somebody says no if you ask to practice on them. People generally get really excited if you want to try psychic readings on them. And then as you give the messages, you'll see which methods and techniques work for you and which methods and techniques do not. Lorna asks a good question. Does Shawnee have an interest in this kind of thing? Absolutely none. No, not even a little bit. And, I was working, I don't want to name names because somebody's sort of a little bit high profile, but I was working with somebody years ago, more than 15 years ago, who is a reader and whose husband is also a reader. And she said to me, oh yeah, because you've got to have that in common. And I thought, wow, you really, really don't know. Everybody's got their own passions. He's been watching the NFL, for example, every last game of it. I have no idea what goes on there, except for if you Google, you see that I had to make some NFL predictions, I think last year before, but I don't understand it. I just sort of take tarot cards to, either this or that. Brian says, you guys are great and appreciate you all. Thank you so much. We're really just a few minutes from finishing. I suppose touched on the different things that I wanted to touch. Let me just sort of mention all the different ways that you can scry. So once you feel more comfortable reading clear things, that gives you the next leap into being able to read, a glass of water, a dark mirror. This is actually a cup of coffee, but a dark mirror is, like in a grandfather clock, the glass that covers the clock face is kind of curved. And if you take that glass and blacken the one side of it with smoke, then that creates a dark mirror. It's absolutely useless as a mirror, but it's great for scrying. So it reflects things. You can see things in it, or even by just sort of looking out at the dark night. So from here, remember what we had? We had this guy, we had that guy, we had this one, and then that. And quite honestly, if you can do all of those things, then you don't even need any of those things. Then you can read, using nothing. Of course, many people can read using nothing right from the beginning, and that is incredible. Twisted says, "You're so beautiful and your hair is fabulous. Thank you so much." Really sort of only from here up, from here down. I don't make an effort. Oh, where have I got? I missed Tor's joke. Where is it? I missed Tor's joke. Tora says, was a great show all round. And it's a ball pun. And Lorna says, Tora, that was dismal. Get your coat. My husband says that my daughter and him are interested in wife mama enough to heckle from the sidelines. Only just. And Tora says, don't wear coats. Lorna says, I think Inbaal should share her beauty secrets products. No problem, but you're going to be very, very disappointed. My biggest beauty secret is angles. I don't know if you can see how the library around me, everything looks like it's pointing that way. That's because I angle the screen in such a way that makes my shockingly tiny forehead look bigger, and the rest of me smaller. It's all angles. If you see me in person, you would jump backwards and maybe even shriek a little bit. Brian says, everybody please give a thumbs up for amazing host. Oh, thank you. And a wonderful show. How she was so precise about me from across the pond is mind blowing. My mind is blown. Blown. Lorna says, you're silky, Stan. Shawnee says, hello, Twisted and Co. from Shawnee and Lala. A little Twisted says, yes, Lorna. Lorna says, that was sweet. And Twisted said, oh, good secret. Yeah, all of my beauty hacks are cheats. James Hannigan is joining us barely 5 minutes before we finish. James, you fancy a little reading quickly before we go? Anyone that's not had a reading, feel free to ask, especially it's my last 5 minutes with you until January. Well, not last 5 minutes because I'm on Thursday for Laura's show for Psychic Brunch. But it's the last few minutes for 2024. If no questions come in, I'm going to do a little message for everybody before we finish. So since we went with a crystal ball all the way through, oh, look, we do have one. I'll still do one for everybody. But Greg is saying, could I get one, please? And James is jumping in as well. Amazing. There you go, gentlemen. So first, you, Greg. What I've got for you is a very, very large moon. It shows that you are largely nocturnal. It shows that you have, I don't want to say an unhealthy obsession with the moon, but certainly an interest. Certainly an interest in the moon. And it also tells me, are you a Cancerian? It also sort of tells me there is a lunar connection. Now, the fact that I've got a half, well, like a barely even a quarter moon, a new moon, says that you are starting a new project, a new creative project just now. That new creative project cannot fail. It literally cannot fail. The success is already there. The moment you started it, you already know that this gets to the end exactly the way that you want it. So, stay confident that the success is part of the whole extravaganza. Yeah, this is what I've got for you. Moons, moons, moons. Let me know if that makes sense. And James says, would love to. Absolutely. Right, let's do. What have I got for you, James? It shows you as such a dreamer, James. And I'm not saying it like in a negative way, but you really struggle to focus. Maybe it's time to talk to a professional about it, because if you could focus, you would be unstoppable. But you struggle to focus. You're always looking for like the next challenge, next place to go to, next idea to follow. And you're super ungrounded. So this is an important direction for you. Taurus sending hearts. Greg is saying thank you and greeting everybody. And now let me do a quick message just before we finish. And this is for everybody for the start of 2025. It's showing a lot of books entering the sphere. Those of you that write them, that, there will be multiples, a couple. Those of you that read them, there will be hundreds. It's showing that it really is a time for learning, for absorbing more information. And it's interesting because it says that all this information will bring more clarity. So hopefully that makes sense to a few of us. James says thanks, definitely. And and Twisted is having fun with Greg, who called her Twitters. So at least it started well. I'm going to thank everybody for joining me on this adventure. I only started the show in 2024, and that's it. 2024 is finished. So by the time the next episode comes around, my CV, which you might think of as a resume, will say Psychic Development with Inbaal on the Bigfoot Outlaw Network 2024 and 2025. That increases it. I appreciate all of you joining in and doing this lovely, lovely episode about the crystal ball. I will see you on the other side. Thank you.